Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville, making it possible. 5 days a week, 4 hours a day. Based on Ramon talking today, it's about 3 hours too much each day.
You know what?
11-year NFL veteran involved for life. Ramon Foster is here. Jonathan Schaefer's here. I'm Jason Martin at Ramon Foster at Schaefer on Sports at JMart Radio at JMart and Ramon. To the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Do we need some long-winded introduction with a bunch of stuff, or do we just say Phillip Fulmer's on the line? I think that's enough.
That's enough.
How are you, Mr. Fulmer? Good morning.
Yeah, I'm good. I love Ramon used to say that about practice. It's about 3 hours too long. So
when the days of true two-a-days, when we go to the baseball field.
God.
Oh, yes, indeed, Coach.
I hated that when I was a player, so I sure hated it when I was a coach. So. But it was necessary, I think, right?
It was. It crafted us some good teams and some good moments also, I think, Coach.
No, it did.
So how many bad stories do you have about Ramon Foster to share? That's really all I want to talk about today.
We use up all of our time this morning. not bad as in bad, not that, but not as doing something you shouldn't be doing, but just a lot of good stories. He knows this. I was fond of the offensive linemen, and we always had good lines, and I hung around them as a head coach a lot more than probably most head coaches would have. So anyway.
Yes, indeed, Coach. I always tell the story when I first got to UT. I'll never forget. I was messing. I had like a couple MEs in practice, and I'll never forget. I think you were down there, as you just said, watching the offensive line, and I think it was the year I was supposed to play when Cody Douglas went out, and I actually started that game, and I messed up in practice of the floor to practice, and you said take off. And I'll never forget running around the fields. And by the third time I got around, Paris Harrelson, God rest his soul, man, was like, hey, Foster, how many did he tell you to run? I was like, he didn't give me a number. He was like, oh, I never heard him not give a number.
Just a little attention getter. It's all. So. Thank you guys for having me on this morning. This is great to talk about the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Some good stories. Super.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that here in 1 second. Just as you're watching kind of from your view now, and some of these things are put in motion while you were in your role, when you just look at the football program with Heupel, you look at what Vitello's doing, you look at Ed Barnes and what's happening on the women's side as well, the state of Tennessee athletics today, it has to put a smile on your face.
No, it's super. I mean, it's wonderful to see that all of our sports, spring and fall are competing at the highest level, and kids are graduating, and there's certainly a lot of challenges in front of college athletics, but Tennessee right now, as you said, can have a smile on its face for all that we're doing. And I love Josh. He and I've gotten to know each other pretty well, and he's a down to earth, good guy. He knows he likes kids. Kids like him. Those are really important things. He can recruit, and he obviously can coach. So I look forward to the future being very bright. And Danny White and I have met several times actually, and he's really great at his job. So I think we helped a little bit put some of the pieces together, for the last couple of years of my time there. That last year with the COVID and everything else that was going on was a tough year, but the first couple of years were very productive of getting everybody working together. So I think Tennessee athletics is in a great place right now.
I think that's a huge point to be made too, Coach, because during our time there, it was always between you, Coach Pat, and just all the other sports that were involved in it. You mentioned something, everybody working together. I felt like the campus had a buzz about itself when everything's going well, and that's always easy to do because winning cures all. But now seeing that come around again, Coach, the way the coaches communicate, the way the team support each other also is what we also had during our time. That's got to also put a smile on your face to actually see that connection between one and the other, the way social media kind of takes away the personal side of everything.
I saw that before I left. I mean, I think, there was some silos that had been created just because of, and it's natural, all the change that had happened over and over and over, and so people on campus administratively and athletics weren't communicating. People in the departments weren't communicating. I put 4 pillars in that I thought really were important at the time, communication, trust, warmth. Those are things. Warmth, that means I care about you. What happens to you and your family, and obviously the last one was intensity. And you could put those in any order you want to, but if you do those things, communicate and trust each other and work hard together and show warmth to each other, it can be done. So I think we got it off to a pretty good start, and they've just run with it now. And there's lots of financial challenges ahead in college athletics all over the country, with everything that's going on.
Right.
As to how that'll shake out. But I'm really proud. I was with Josh the other night at a function up in Sevierville, and he's just a really good guy that wants to do well. So I like that. He's not full of himself.
So when you mention financial challenges, we know what you're talking about, as we talk about it daily, about NIL and everything else that's going on. As you watch all of this, is this a world you would want to be in as a coach? Because it does seem like there's a lot more to this job now than coaching football.
No, I wouldn't want to be in it, right now, honestly. Ramon just mentioned that I told him to take off running. Well, heck, they might take off running straight to the portal. And so you don't make the point, that making mistakes is not important, and is not making mistakes is important. So the money, I just can't. Something has to change eventually. I mean, it's not sustainable. You get some 5-star guy that you paid a bunch of money to, and he comes in, he's injured, or he doesn't pan out. About half of those guys really pan out or less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the guy's not going to do. The owner's probably not going to put money back in it the next year. I mean, it's just anywhere. So it's just it's a tough road to go. But here's the other part of this, and nobody has the answer yet. But it is the law that you can do that, and if you don't, you're going to be left behind.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody should be out there trying to figure this out and recruiting. What we spent 150 years of college football trying not to do, and now it's. I've heard it over and over. Wild, Wild West. Whatever you think you can make happen. So, kind of tough, really. And I don't know, Ramon. You'd appreciate this. What happens in the locker room? And I know I've heard I've talked to a couple coaches that their best players have left. Because you couldn't get in the smaller schools. Because you can't give them enough money. And you spent 3 years recruiting him and developing him, and now he's ready to be a good player and he's playing for somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the business model. It's kind of what happens in business. Everybody gets balled up, but I don't know. I like the amateur part of things. So, I'm working with a firm there in Nashville, actually, that is part of it's called ALC, Athlete Licensing Company, and as an advisor, basically. But we're trying to be transparent, make things transparent, and be kind of the back office. So a kid or a group, a collective or whatever, somebody's got to pay taxes, right? Somebody's got to pay the branding company. Somebody's got, make sure that you're showing up where you're supposed to show up, those kinds of things. So I'm pretty deep in it from that standpoint, but I want to do it from the right way, not on the other end where you're using inducements, basically.
Mm-hmm. Coach, one thing we saw in the SEC, I know during our tenure, it wasn't necessarily the end goal for it as far as offenses just being all the way at the top. We've seen some powerful offenses, even Tennessee's, to the point that the scoring is to a premium, and defenses have kind of taken a little bit of a back seat when it comes down to winning games, except Georgia had a really good defense this year. And, Bama always kind of brings the bucket, their hat to the ball game too. But just in general, you ever imagine the SEC getting down to this type of high-powered offenses where defenses have to just manage winning games?
Well, Ramon, it goes in cycles. There was a run and shoot way back when everybody thought that was the greatest, and then you had the wishbone and the veer, and one back offenses, and it just evolves. Offensive evolves off of what defenses do, basically. And you've got to find a way. But the truth of it is, you still got to block and tackle. And tackling has become so much more difficult because you're having to tackle in space all the time.
Yeah.
And that's a great athlete is going to get beat in space sometimes by another great athlete. So now it comes down to recruiting, those skill guys and quarterbacks and those kinds of things. So will it evolve back around? I don't know. But I would tell you all these coaches that are doing the run or the wide open offenses, they still want to be able to run the football when they can, and they'd probably like for you to spread out with them so they could run the ball. And then now the pressure's on the defense. What are you going to do? Which poison do you want to take? So,
Coach,
it's interesting.
Coach, in your time speaking with him and watching him, what's the most impressive thing that you have come to know about Josh Heupel?
Well, I just think he's a great guy, and he's focused. He's smart. He knows that recruiting is the lifeblood of getting it done. He likes to call plays and do all those things, but in the end, that's only going to be the result's only going to be who's catching the ball or running the ball,
right?
And who's blocking up front or. Ramon mentioned defensively, we have so far to go, although at times we played pretty well, but we had so far to go last year to be a respectable defense. So, but anyway, I answer your question. I think he's a great guy, and he's smart, and he's tough enough on the kids, but they like him, and he has no BS about him. I mean, if there was a couple of kids that maybe he inherited that weren't quite buying into the program, it was, see you later, kind of thing. So I like that.
Coach, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame golf tournament coming up June 6th. I know you're working with Brad Willis as far as, being an ambassador towards this. It'll be the banquet will be here in Nashville Saturday, July 23rd. You want to speak more on that and why your involvement in it is more important for this state and for the event also?
Yeah, Brad Willis, as our director of the Hall of Fame, has just done a fantastic job, and with support from the Tourism Bureau and everybody. But the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame is, I think, a really important thing for our state. It connects us all through the East, Middle, and West Tennessee, and people are recognized that have done great things in athletics, but also great things in the community. And it's important to recognize those coaches and administrators and business leaders that have done well. We are starting back the golf tournament after COVID and everything, and really we stopped even before that for a bit. It'll be at Vanderbilt Legends Club at 1:00. What is it? The 6th, I think. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just going off the top of my head. Yeah, and $750 and $100,000 if you want to play with a celebrity. And I'd hope people would sign up and come out and have a fun time. There's going to be a bunch of guys there. And then the banquet on July the 23rd is our largest fundraiser. It's at 6:00 at the Omni Hotel, downtown Nashville, and people can come out and buy tickets or tables and help support the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame. We've got a great list of people going in this year because we're recognizing 3 classes because of COVID, and we talk back and forth, but we wanted to be fair to the 20 and 21 class that they got acknowledged as well. So. I promise you it won't be a 4-hour banquet, but it won't be a 3-hour banquet, and I hope it's not a 2-hour banquet because we're going to move it along. But I'd like for everybody to come back. Got some great Tennessee guys going in. Harry Galbraith, who was one of my absolute favorite guys as to coach and as a person. And Ramon, we could tell Harry Galbraith stories from now to next week, and just a wonderful young man. And of course, Heath Schuler and Todd Helton, and I'm again doing this off the top of my head, Shamika Barksdale, Nikki McCray, Tony White, leading scorer in the SEC in his senior year, Reggie Johnson, great player, great basketball player. So lots and lots of young people and people being recognized from all walks of life, and that's important to remember. It's we have we've celebrated fishermen and skeet shooters and just all kinds of sports. Some handicapped folks that have done really well in sports as announcers and stuff. So it's not limited just to the Heath Schulers of the world or Peyton Manning's of the world. It's a wonderful, fun banquet that will move along, and we hope people come out.
Yeah, it's funny. A few years ago at the Omni, at the induction, actually, where Peyton was headline, Charles Davis and a bunch of people, my wife and I were there, and my wife took a photo with you, and I've seen her happy. Like, I saw her on the wedding day photos. Those are really happy days. And the day that my daughter was born a year ago, super happy. I'm not sure, but the photo of you and her, I'm not so sure that that's the happiest I've ever seen her.
She loves you, Coach.
You have to come and we'll get another one.
You looked happy in that photo too, so it was a good moment. Real quick as we let you go, Ramon Foster slanders Dave Clawson on this show relentlessly because of the offense that he ran. Mon, please, I need to have this adjudicated before we let Phillip Fulmer go.
No, that's probably an off the phone conversation with Coach. Just know they were calling our plays before we knew it, but it's all good, Coach. We got through it.
And he's gone on and done exceptionally well, and it was a time. Most of the time we were so much on the same page, and everybody working, exactly together. And there were some dynamics there that just didn't work, And even now I wonder, what how all those things happen. There was some, like, probably everybody, including me, that was responsible for that. So another time, Ramon, get off of it. It's over.
I'll invite you to the back porch, Coach. I know you're a cigar person. I got some real good bourbon at the house too. We'll hash that out one day, Coach.
All right. We'll hash it out. That'll be attaboy.
Coach, we appreciate the time. We're going to reset all that information here in just a second, but thanks so much. We look forward to seeing you here a little bit later this summer.
Ramon, I love you.
Love
Jason,
you too,
thank
Coach.
you. Appreciate you. Take care.
Indeed. That's Coach Fulmer. So the golf tournament presented by the Tennessee Lottery, Monday, June the 6th, 1 p.m. Vanderbilt Legends Club in Franklin is $750 for a team, $1,000 for a team with a celebrity fifth player. That'll be fun. Pre- and post-round meals provided. Every player is going to receive a polo and a goodie bag.
Mm-hmm. By the way, shout out to Brad, too, man, for putting this together.
Brad's unreal, man.
And it's not just UT at all. He's pulling people from all universities across the state, man. Shout out to our guy, Michael Orr. He might be involved in it also, man. Almost had him at the University of Tennessee. But family ties, man. So it'll be a real good time. I'm planning it, actually, too. Ron challenged me and said, Mon, you keep talking crap about golfing. Get out there. So I'm going to do it.
I'm still in the boot on June 6th, so not that anybody wants to play with me, but they won't be able to.
They definitely want to play with you, Jay. Don't sell yourself.
I'm not getting invited to the Bahamas. And the 2022 banquet presented by the Tennessee Titans, and this is a great event. It really is. I've been there. It's a lot of fun. Saturday, July 23rd, 6 p.m., Omni Nashville downtown. You can buy tickets, get yourself a table at tshf.net, and it's 3 classes worth of entrance, 20, 21, 22. First banquet in person they've done in over 3 years because of COVID and other challenges. It's a really good time. If you're a sports fan that lives in this state, it's the best celebration of things to happen in a state that you will find, and you'll be around a lot of folks. A lot of us are there that night as well. So tshf.net, buy tickets, buy tables, the 2022 banquet presented by the Tennessee Titans. And thanks to Coach Fulmer. Look, he definitely has some things to say about Dave Clawson.
You hear it.
But you slander him when he said he's gone on to do wonderful things, and you're like,
Coach heard that too.
That was special moment.
It was literally the pettiest thing you've ever
It
done.
was super petty.
What more you expect? Aren't we like this all the time? Even
That's a
in
fair point.
Yeah.
I mean, you ain't wrong.
It's a fair
While
point.
we're playing around and while we're professional, we're gonna be petty.
I mean, I had to change shirts before that segment. 615-737-1045. Y'all didn't even notice.
I didn't even know.
JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone.